Most crime novels are preoccupied with justice. You're a lawyer. Your protagonist, Virgil Wounded Horse, is a professional vigilante. Can you tell us a little bit about the Federal Major Crimes Act and how it relates to Virgil's work on tribal lands and to your novel's preoccupation with justice?
I'd be delighted, and thank you for the wonderful introduction and the wonderful praise. I just returned last night from the Rosebud Indian Reservation in South Dakota, where my people are from. I was there for a week doing research for the next book in the series. And so I always love going back there. But, you know, I wrote the book. I am a professor of Native American Studies and an attorney, although I don't practice so much anymore. So I'll give the briefest of introductions. Most folks, unless you come from a Native reservation, you would not know that the criminal justice system on reservations, it's a broken system. It doesn't work. You have overlapping jurisdictions between state, federal, and tribal authorities, but you also have a number of laws passed by the U.S. Congress that limit the authority of Native nations to prosecute crimes on their own lands. Now, if you're not aware of this, Native nations, we are sovereign, independent nations that exist within the boundaries of the United States. A lot of people don't understand this. We're separate nations. But the U.S. Supreme Court and the U.S. Congress have passed a number of laws that limit our independence and our sovereignty. One of these is the law called the Major Crimes Act, passed in 1885. It forbids Native nations from prosecuting serious felony crimes on their own lands involving their own people. Instead, what happens is when an offender is caught harming a woman, a child, burglary or arson, the tribal authorities, they have the person in custody, the offender. They must call the FBI, which is in Pierre, South Dakota, and they come down and they do an investigation. And they then, if they choose to prosecute, they send it to the U.S. Attorney's Office. So we are cut out of the loop. But here's the thing. The U.S. government is refusing to prosecute about 40% of all felonies. So that means child abusers, rapists, murderers are being set free. This is where private hired vigilantes like my character, Virgil Wounded Horse, come into play. If somebody hurts your child or your wife or your mother or your brother, and you can't get justice, you might be sorely tempted to hire a private vigilante who will enact some street justice for a price. His price is $100 for each tooth he knocks out and each bone he breaks. That's what he charges. There are actually vigilantes and hired enforcers on reservations. I can promise you of this. But it's really a reflection of just the problem that we have with the laws governing criminal justice on reservations. So I'll stop there.